Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to a very different type of video today. Today is all about Mental Health Awareness Month of May, and today I'm going to talk about the things I have been through and things that have happened to me to get to where I am today. A lot has happened, a lot of shit has gone on, and the idea of doing this video is basically to make more people aware of what's going on, make people understand slightly if they don't understand what mental health is, of what some people might be going through, um, as well as wanting to make sure that if anybody's going through it or anything is happening to them, that there is a video out there that would be able to help them, or there's anything I can do. The main thing of this is just if I get to help or make sure one person gets the help it needs, that is basically what I'm looking for. The suicide rate for men for their mental health is going up, and not a lot is being done about it. We can't be having 1 month for mental health awareness. We need a whole year, 365 days of it, 24/7, of helping people, especially men that are going through certain things that need help. We have all been, as men, told, man up. Not anymore. We are in this society now where everyone should be treated the same, no matter the gender and no matter who you are. Everyone deserves help. Everyone deserves to have someone to talk to. And this is what this is all about. Nothing else. So, on this piece of paper, I have written everything that has gone on. I will be going through that and talking about that, going through certain points of that, and discussing about it. So, this started when I was born. My father, by the way, during this, I will refer to him as sperm donor because that's basically all he's done, was not a very nice human being. Very violent, very rude, very two-faced, was not the person that should be a father. Very manipulative, was someone that should not be anywhere near children because of how horrible that man can be. When I was really young, my first real memory of him and my family was police knocking down, breaking down his door, bringing me out with my nan, who was there at the time, um, as he had kidnapped me and wouldn't give me back to my mother. The last time I ever saw him was when England won the Rugby World Cup. Remember that because we were listening to it on the radio in his car, and there were two people in his car. There was two pictures in his car, and on those two pictures, I asked him for years, "Who are they? Why do I ever not meet them? Or who could they be?" And he always told me they were a friend's kids, and he used to look after them or do something with them, which turned out to be my brother and sister, who I've only ever contacted my sister once. Um, but she would, when we would talk during the time when I got older, she would go back to him and tell him. And I don't want him to have anything to do with my family, my kids, anything. So I cut ties with that, and I've never met him, my brother, ever. Um, it's hard growing up when you have a father that you know that could be there that's never there. My mother never stopped him ever coming. I've seen the text messages, I've seen the conversations, I heard most of them. She would invite him, he just would never turn up. And that day of the Johnny Wilkinson, the Rugby World Cup win, that was the last time I ever said I ever wanted to see him again. Because I'm not putting myself through, I don't want to be around that type of person. So I cut ties, got rid of him, never wanted to hear from him, never wanted to speak to him again. The issue was he would blame everything on my mother. And I understand that there are mothers out there that will do that to their children, completely and utterly wrong, but it was my decision. I went to courts several times. I remember sitting in a courtroom, sitting there and playing with these toys. And there was a camera and there was a voice that would come in and ask me questions. I didn't know at the time, but that was the judge. And he asked me, what was the memories I had of him? I told him the lies and the stuff that he did. And do I ever want to see him again? I said, no. Never want to see him again. I think that was one of the hardest but best decisions I ever made. I had a mother who did everything. She was the mother. She was the father. She was the helper, the carer, the disciplinary person I could talk to about literally anything. But when I talked to her about anything come later on in life, because at the age of 8, I have never said this on camera. There are only 4 people that know about this. I was sexually assaulted at the age of 8. I was sexually assaulted. I was told when I was a kid, I used to go around to this person's house. Um, that if I did certain things, I would get rewards, which I did. And at that time, I thought that was normal. Not, not normal at all. No one should ever go through that. But I never said anything, never told anyone, never spoke about it, bottled that up in a little bottle, threw it to the back of my brain, and never told anyone. Then my little brother was born. And I will tell him to his face because I know that he's watching this. He is the biggest pain in the ass that I've ever had, but he's also one of the best things that's happened to me. When he was born, it made me become a man. I had to, I had to be the person that held everything down for the people in the house. My mother was working 1, maybe 2 jobs. I had to make sure my brother was all right, everything was okay for her. She was doing what she needed to do. I had to become a man. Money issues become an issue. We had court dates, we had this, we had that, but the only thing that I cared about was if my brother was getting the right discipline, was getting the right things for him to grow up to be the man that he is. And unfortunately, he hasn't. I know he's watching, so I'm just doing that for a bit of laugh for him. He has grown up to be one of the best humans that can be. He's also a fucking idiot. But him going to uni, getting his degree, working his ass off is amazing. And I'm very proud of him for doing that. It means the absolute world to me that all the shit that we've been through, that he's able to come out the other end a better human being than I am. And then 10 years ago, I met my partner, who then fucked me off. She went, nah, don't want to talk to you, don't want to ever speak to you again. Rightly so, to be fair. And then a year later, she come crawling back, like all the ladies do. No, she come back, we were talking, and then next year, in June, we will be getting married. We have been engaged at that for about 7 of those years. It's taken me long enough. But when she come along and she was there, she was the person that I could, for the first time in my life, because of all the stuff that we went through and everything that happened, was the only person I could be completely and utterly honest to and talk to. And we're going to talk about my first episode I had. I started working for her father, and wasn't going very well for me. I wasn't doing the greatest job. I was a twat at the time. And I just walked out. And on the way home, I had my very first panic attack and depression when I got in. When I got stepped foot back into that house, I never stepped foot back out of that for another 7 months. The only time during that 7 months I would step foot out, it was either into the garden or outside the front. I wouldn't go to the shops. I wouldn't go out. I wouldn't do anything. My partner had to do it all. The one thing I found during that time was there were certain times where I would black out, not remember what went on. And there were times when my partner would stay at her work and not come home because of how horrible I was. The verbal abuse that I was giving was, no one should ever in their life go through that. But at that time, I had no clue what I was doing. No understanding of how horrible I was. There was something inside of me that was dark that I held in for so long that the cracks were coming out and it was slowly seeping out. And I tried to control it back in, but I couldn't. She stayed around and helped me and my brother through times that no person should ever live through. Ever. I was a massive fucking asshole. And they were there for me. They were there, never left. And then one day I completely lost it, punched a hole through a door. We lived in a 1-bedroom house. And I went upstairs, lost my temper over something. I don't remember what it was, punched a hole in the door and collapsed. And my mum and my brother and my partner were there, and I just said, I need help. And then I went to therapy. And for the first time in my very first therapy session was the first time I've ever opened up about anything. It was the first time I ever told anyone about what's happened. And it was like the greatest weight has ever lifted off my shoulders. Ever. Sitting there and talking to this random person who has no idea who I am. If I sniffle, it's because I've got this real bad bloody cold and it's not pissing off. And just going through it, and she said this one line to me. The best thing you can do is not hold anything in anymore, and that starts today. Now, to my family, they probably think I've taken that literally, because I don't hold anything in it. If I have a problem with someone, I tell them. If I think you're bullshitting, I tell you. If I think you're an arsehole, I tell you. If I think you're right, I won't tell you. My brother will tell you that. I won't tell you. But at the same time, I do not hold anything anymore. I don't feel remorse in most things I say anymore now, which is probably one of the consequences of everything that's happened. But I say how I feel. I get what I need off my chest, and I feel like the weight has lifted off me. I don't feel like I need to hold anything anymore. There'll be times where, like now, I've started up a streaming service, right? So I'm going to be streaming live on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, TikTok when I can work out the fuck to do it. But I'm going to be streaming on all of them. And it took me 3 days. It took me, I wanted to do it in the morning, I held it in because I wanted to talk to her later. I couldn't do it anymore, so I woke her up at 1 o'clock in the morning to ask her if that was okay, if I could do that. Because I can't hold it in anymore now. If I've got something to say, I have to say it. That's the issue I am now. Then my son was born. My son and my daughter were born. And my daughter has made me change the way that I think of things in life. When my brother was born, it was I had to become a man. When my daughter was born, it was a new protection I needed to have, a new layer of toughness I needed to have, a thicker skin, someone that could never break it. But there is now another person in my circle, I call it, that I will die for. And that also triggered me to go to therapy as well, knowing that she was coming. I didn't want her to grow up and see her father be this absolute animal arsehole. And then I went to therapy. And it was one of the best things that's ever happened to me. So we're now going to jump forward after that till 2021. And I've been getting this feeling of not feeling great when going outside. I started getting sweaty palms. I started feeling the world was against me. And on Christmas, on Boxing Day 2021, I went to my father-in-law's pub for Christmas. We normally go there the day after Christmas, do presents with my partner's family, have a few drinks. And as I got there, I have never sweated, struggled to breathe, anything in my life before. I brought my dog with me this time as well. And I stood in his garden and I didn't leave that garden until we left. Because I had a massive, massive panic attack. It was horrible. That's the first time I can properly say everything got. If you've ever watched Ted Lasso and you watched when he was doing this with his hands, that's exactly what I had. And he was doing this, and I was like, this does not feel right. I feel sick. I feel like this is not right. I missed, because of that panic attack, I missed football games. Football is my life. Football and wrestling are the only things in my life that have kept me sane. I can go to a football match or watch football on TV and block everything out and concentrate what's going on in that football. Look at the formations. How are they playing? How are they dictating this game? What did they do to win? Why is this player doing this? Wrestling. How are they going to tell this story? Why are they wrestling? Why is this person doing this? I would love, my dream would be one day to be the next Paul Heyman, stand in the ring and be on a microphone and talk. Love it. I would love to do that. That would be my dream, would be to stand there in front of a crowd and get them to boo me. I don't want to be cheered, I want to be booed. Missing all of that. Missing my partner's sister's wedding, which was horrible because I love the pair of them. Never got to go to their wedding because I had a panic attacks of thinking about going, sweating, couldn't get out of the house, couldn't do anything. And then going through the process of my son getting diagnosed for autism, the stress my partner had, getting all the forms filled out, seeing how hard she worked to do this, everything she was doing was for him. And to see that really gave me the anxiety of I need to do more. I need to make sure my son's this and my daughter's that. And then one day I went back to therapy again. And lo and behold, WWE were having their first event in the UK in the first in 31 years and 30 years at Clash at the Castle. I had a goal I needed to set myself to because I already bought tickets that I was going to. I needed to make sure that I could be going out in public. I wouldn't leave the house. I had the bedroom and the kitchen and some occasional the living room back to bedroom. I wasn't being a father. I wasn't being a good fiance. I wasn't being a good anything. I needed a goal that got me to where I needed to get to. And what I needed to get to was to be a good father, be a good fiance, be a person that could do something for their family. So the goal was to do all of that and get to WWE Clash at the Castle and go to Reading Games as well. And I did it. And it was one of the best experiences I've ever had in my life going to that. It brought me back my childhood of when I used to watch it all the time on the telly with my older brother. Used to fight. He used to be stone cold. I was always the Rock. And I did the same thing with my younger brother when he was growing up on the trampoline. He hated it. But I won because I was the greatest. And now here we are today. I am someone that still is a walking, talking process. I still have a lot more to go through. I still have a lot more change I need to do myself. But I am a better person I am now than I was a year ago. I am a better person now than I was yesterday. That's all the goal is be a better person than what you were the day before. I started this YouTube channel because I wanted to talk football. I wanted to talk wrestling. I wanted to bring the love I have for sport and talk about it. I love talking about it. I love talking about anything except politics. We're not going down that road because, yes, my goal is, and this should be everyone's goal as well, be a better person than you were yesterday. When I'm at work, my goal is do a better job than I did before. But make sure that you are who you are. Don't be someone that you think people want you to be. It's not how life goes. If people are not there for you when you're down and you're out, and they're not there for you for the new you, fuck them. They're not there for you. They are not there to be built for you. They are not ready for you. Make people there that deserve to be in your life that are the ones there for you. So with that, thank you guys ever so much for joining me. Thank you for listening to me. I hope this has helped someone. Please don't forget to like and share. Don't forget to tell your friends and family. And we will see you guys. Hopefully Reading appoint a new manager soon because I need more content on the football page. And we've got a lot more wrestling content coming up as well. Lots of live shows I'm going to be doing as well in the future. So please give us a follow on all those channels. Make sure you subscribe. And I will see you guys next time. And that's not me farting, that's a car outside.